Hi class, welcome to the Income Analysis tab of Major Assignment 1 in Math 144. For the first part of this tab, make sure you enter your name in part 1. Make sure your name is at least 5 letters long. If it's not 5 letters, please fill in with capital X's until you reach at least 5 letters. After you enter your name in, you are going to see your data generate in the BLS data. What you're going to do is you are going to take this BLS data that is not perfectly linear, but it's close to being linear. You are going to find the average slope and the average y-intercept of this data so you can create a linear model, and then you can use your linear model to make predictions. We are going to be studying the years of education versus average weekly income. When we do this, let's make sure we format correctly. We're going to format our slope and y-intercept as numbers with 0 decimal places, average weekly incomes as currency with 0 decimal places. Okay, so after you've entered your name in, you're going to start with your slope and your y-intercept. When you do the slope and the y-intercept, you need to consider all points in that BLS data. So you need to use Excel functions to help you do your calculation. Use the slope function for slope and the intercept function to find that y-intercept. When you do those functions, you are going to be asked for the y values and then the x values. Make sure you use the y values and the x values in the BLS data to do your slope and y-intercept calculations. After you have found that slope and y-intercept using your slope and intercept functions, then you're going to calculate the average weekly incomes for the years of education in column D. This is going to be your predictions based on the slope and y-intercept. So given this slope and y-intercept that you got from the data, you are going to predict the average weekly income for the given years of education. When you find that average weekly income, you're going to use an Excel formula that follows the slope intercept form of the line, which is our y equals mx plus b. M is your slope, b is your y-intercept, and make sure you use the x values from the years of education in column D. After you've made your predictions, then you can make your scatter plot that's going to model everything we've did. The scatter plot is going to be under part 3. You want to make a scatter plot of the BLS data. So your initial scatter plot is going to model the BLS data in columns A and B. So when you make that scatter plot, it will be a bunch of scatter points on there that model the BLS data in column A and B, the original data you were working with. Then you are going to insert a linear trend line that goes from years 8 to 24 on the horizontal axis. And that horizontal trend line is going to represent your predicted incomes based on best fit. So remember, all of your charts are going to be at the top in your toolbar under Insert. You want to insert a scatter plot of the BLS data in columns A and B. And then once you have that scatter plot, insert a trend line that is going from years 8 to 24 on the horizontal axis. So here is the scatter plot I inserted. I highlighted my BLS data. I went under Insert. I chose my scatter plot. I inserted my scatter plot. All right, after inserting the scatter plot, you want to go to your Chart Design tab. You need to include axes labels. You want to go in and change all these labels, change your chart title, change all of these labels, make them all appropriate. What do they represent? Give them all appropriate labels. And then you are going to also in that same area under chart design, add chart element, you want to do a trend line and choose linear. After you insert that trend line, right click on it, go to format trend line, and then you need to adjust the forecasting. You need to have this trend line span from years 8 and 24 on your horizontal axis. So that means it needs to go from 8 to 24. So you need to adjust the forward and backwards appropriately to have your trend line span from years 8 to 24. And then don't forget to change your chart title and your axis title to polish off your chart. And then this will finish off the income analysis tab.